modern renaissance, do you feel like the way that you handle these children is the exception to the rule, or what's happening in mass?
You said what's happening in
Mass, the majority.
Are you talking about just parenting period, or
No, I'm talking when you're coming to corporal punishment, right? The explanations behind it and all of that stuff, the way that you handle your children and the children that you're working with, right? Do you feel like that's the majority of people that move that way, or do you feel like that is the exception?
Oh, majority of people definitely don't move that way.
Okay, so that is why I don't advocate for it, because the majority of people are going to apply it in a way that's not productive.
Right. So that's why I say, you know, like right now, when I talked about the age of kids we get a hold of, that's the reason why, because even when it comes to like their own parents, there are some of those kids who, I mean, they're getting hit with all kind of crazy objects. And we like, okay, no, look, if this happens, you come and let us know. We're going to take care of it and talk to them, whatever like that. But no, because some of the stuff is ridiculous. Like some people, you know, I'm just being real. There's some of them
I was gonna say
stitching cord.
I've been waiting.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You know you like skin. You got to make room for yourself.
I was doing the Enon's finger. But what I can't remember who said it. Oh, I think it was you, Renaissance. Like, you know, no, I think you said maybe be harder, which I do agree, about changing behavior, you know, as you get older or what have you. That I can agree. But I also do believe, for the most part, that anybody's behavior can be shaped and changed, right? So I think I said this before, that I used to do ABA. So I was working with children with autism, but the same idea behind that, the same methods work just on anyone. The idea behind it is to shape and modify behavior, but the main thing that you have to do first is see what the function of that behavior is for. Find the underlying reason behind what that behavior function as, and then once you find that, then you are able to begin to shape and change, because you're only paying attention to the desired behavior that you want to see. And then there's consequences for the undesirable behavior. And I think everybody operates on that as human nature. Like you just said, even if people with the mental issues realize that their shape or change of behavior comes when the consequence is pain. And I gave my example earlier about my husband no longer providing me with the reinforcement for behaviors that I was able to get away with in previous relationships. Once he began to give me, you know, a consequence, or should I say reinforcement for the behavior he wanted to see, without even not even knowing, you know what I'm saying? So I do think, as a man, so getting back to the point where, you know, they're saying men don't know how to be men, things like that. One of the things is that men do know how to observe behavior and use that to gain access to women. Y'all are great at that. So my thing is, if it's used constructively, all of these women that y'all talking about, you can't say nothing to these women, like, you have to learn how to use that ability in a positive way to end up changing a behavior. And I think that that's where your masculinity, like the men who, like y'all would talk about Marcus or like when you say real masculine men, I think that's where that comes in. They have an ability to be able to see certain things, decide what the consequence for the unwanted behavior is going to be, that's going to be effective for the woman that they're with, and then reinforce the things that the woman do that pleases him, which will make her want to do it more. And I think that's the skill set that men need to develop in order to get the women that they say they want and would marry.
Okay, just two things I want to point out. Why would we care about changing their behavior when we're already getting what we want out of them? And the second part of that is And the second part of that is, I'm not gonna like. I think we got hung up on the spanking piece of what MRM was talking about. Yo, what you're doing, bro? What y'all are doing? That's dope as hell.
Yeah,
that is dope. A person like me, when I was younger, I could have benefited from a group like that. Like that to me is super dope. I just want to give you your flowers on that.
Appreciate it.
Let me just say this, because I don't want that every time we talk about corporal punishment, the conversation kind of gets derailed. And I'll tell y'all, like I think I told someone on my show, it hurts me more than it could ever hurt my kids to spank them. It hurts me more. And one thing I've noticed is that the reason why fathers are so necessary is because moms are predispositioned to not want to see their children hurt in any way, even if it's because of their own behavior. You see what I'm saying? So the second they see their child cry, the second they see their child scared of impending consequences, they're going to try to save them from it.
Even within the marriage.
Exact. So
even
it's like,
your own marriage.
It hurts me that I have to do this to you, because I've given you clear instructions time and time again. And usually around the time I'm going to spank is usually around the time they're going to hurt themselves if I don't teach this lesson right now. And being somebody who was in the military and somebody who went through a whole process in another way, pain helps the body remember. It is a tale as old as time. Pain helps the body to remember. And you're doing it, especially in their formative years, so you don't have to do it anymore. I do not want to see anybody wailing or swinging on a 14-year-old, because they should have learned by then. They should be helping correct the younger ones so they don't get those consequences, right? So it's not something that we take pleasure in. It's not something that we feel like we have to do. But I want you to look the countries, the cultures that have strict rules for administering corporal, like a culture. They have corporal punishment. Look at the behavior of those children versus America in the West, who doesn't believe in such a thing. In America in the West, we got the worst children that have ever walked the face of this earth.
Man, then to her point though, this is Nas. I think let's say this is Nas. To your point though, when you say that you get more respect out of that, to that particular one, and what you did and what you brought out is what piqued my interest when you said, because you talk with them and you do this with them. Is it possible that whoever the parent is, they just do that and then leave it at that? They don't talk to them like, what's causing this issue? Why did you do it? This is why you're in trouble. And that's why you get the respect, because you actually take time to understand what's going on.
So both parents do that. I think that's one part of it. The other part of it is that I don't believe in punishments that are not correlated to the transgression. So young children, for example, will write on walls. Your punishment is to then clean the walls, not just the wall that you sullied,
a natural consequence,
right? Like they have to be natural consequences. To give a consequence that's not correlated to the transgression doesn't instill logical thinking, right? And so it's not just the conversation about things, right? So that was when he was really young. As he started to grow and understand what natural consequences were, then it was, okay, if you do this behavior again, what is your punishment, right? And then he chooses from his understanding of what a natural consequence is. If I don't do my homework, I don't get to play video games during the week. He chooses that. So if he doesn't do his homework, the conversation's simple then. Did you do your homework? No. What's the consequence? Well, here's my video game console. Right.
See, this is why children are so bad, Enos. This is why children are so bad.